know why, like, 16 didn't strike me as that, but 17, I was like, wow.
Now it's real, guys.
Now we're really doing it. So last week we were talking about sleep disruptions. And Katie was also attacked because she found out she does have more sleep disruption than she thought.
Yeah, the falling asleep, like...
Intrusive sleep,
like, throughout the day. I guess, like, it threw me off because you said, like, you fall out of your chair in class.
That was the example they were giving.
Yeah, and I was like, who the fuck does that? And then when I made you repeat
Katie
it...
was like, some fucking idiot.
Yeah, when I made you repeat it so I could understand, I realized, holy fucking shit, that happens to me on the reg.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I just assumed it was because I had not gotten great sleep the night before. So it was like, it's my fault that I'm doing this. And I guess not. So yeah, I learned that last week. And also, evidently, you're not supposed to snort a bunch of coke and then watch Saw and try to fall asleep afterwards.
This is a great time to go into sleep hygiene. Now that we're talking about combining things. So Harvard has a list.
Oh, Christ.
Of like good sleep habits /
get
sleep
reported to
hygiene.
Harvard.
Oh my God. I can't wait to go through this. So the number one, let's backtrack a little bit. Literally every single thing you read about anything having to do with sleep, they revert it back to like this basic list. Sleep hygiene. If you want to reset your circadian clock, because that's one way to like cope with this issue. If you want to reset that, if you want to improve your sleep, if you want to sleep better, if you want to help offset some of these symptoms, blah, 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 everything pushes back to this list.
Cool.
Number one, stop pre-sleep electronic use.
Okay, well, eat dick, Harvard.
So this says 30 minutes before bed. I've read other things that say 2 to 3 hours before bed.
I literally fall asleep with my phone in my hand almost every night.
So I'm also bad with this. I don't fall asleep with it in my hand, but I will like check all my shit before I set my phone down for the night and like roll over to go to sleep.
Oh no.
Katie's like, ha, 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 ha.
So this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, PK will start a conversation with me, so I think like he wants to talk because I fuck around on my phone for 30 minutes before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And he's like passing out trying to have a conversation with me. Like, completely incoherent, like groggy, slurred words, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, well, what do you think about da-da-da-da-da? And he's like, uh-huh.
He's like, but what about peanuts?
Yeah, no, I lately I've just been listening to a podcast, like, that's not scary. But otherwise I'll use my Calm app.
Yep.
And throw on a sleep story, and I play Candy Crush. That like stops my brain from thinking so well. I don't know. It's like the repetitive motion. I just turn the brightness down on my phone all the way.
Yeah, the bright light. So there's like two components of it. Electronics are like cognitively engaging you, and there's also the component of the bright light from the electronics disrupts that circadian, like, this is when you're supposed to be, because it's bright light, so it's like that's what your brain should be getting in the morning. You should be getting bright light in the morning to like activate your brain, and then in the evening you should be getting less light so that you're using that, you're like falling into that circadian rhythm. Side note, to help this, they have what's called a sunrise alarm clock.
I've looked at that. Yeah.
Oh my God. I did not know they were a thing. And I was watching YouTube videos this morning. I was like, this looks like the coolest thing. So they make it where they have ones that also have like sleep sounds in them. So I would love to have one with like nature sounds on it. I
almost got PK one for Valentine's Day last year.
Yeah.
Because then you could also use it as like a
seasonal effective light. Yeah.
Like a sunlight or sun lamp thing to get some vitamin D, whatever happening in your brain.
It like, they have them where, you know, if your alarm is set for like 6 a.m., so like before that, it's going to start making the room gradually lighter. It's supposed to like mimic a sunrise, and they can have like birds chirping, and then they also have that for the evening.
I wonder how my cats would react to birds chirping on my nightstand.
I'm sure it would go really well. and they would be really logical and calm about it and not at all chaotic and psychotic.
There's
As Katie awakes to a crash because her cat has tackled the alarm clock off of her nightstand.
God, ridiculous.
So I think that's a great concept. I personally will more than likely try one and let you know.
Yeah, see if you can get one on like a Black Friday deal.
Because like they do it for the evening too, where it'll then mimic like a sunset, which I just think is so cool, especially for the winter when you're thrown off by it being dark at like fucking 2:00 in the afternoon.
I've seen that also, yeah, for going to sleep, like it'll slowly dim over 30 minutes. So like then by the time you're not suddenly in a dark room when you're going to bed or
like
whatever.
Abruptly turning the lights off.
But I saw a thing, and I have no fucking clue what the hell I was watching. I don't know if it was like a National Geographic thing back in the day or whatever, but it was a business that offered, like, had these sleep pods, and it was in a city, in, I want to say probably England or something. It might have been New York City. But you'd have like a membership and you'd schedule your time and you could take like a 30 to 1 hour long nap.
Are these those like those, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the deprivation pods?
Kind of. I think it was more like when you go to like a massage studio or something and like it's a generally kind of quiet place. But you're in this room alone. You're in this little like chair thingy that is like memory foam but like ergonomic, so you're kind of sitting up, whatever, but
like in the position you should be in for like mindfulness, like where you're not laying down so you fall asleep, but you're in a very comfortable seated position.
Yeah, it almost looked kind of like a extra comfortable dental chair. I know I keep talking about a dentist today, but that's it. It had that kind of shape to it where you could be like sitting up, but your legs were also kind of bent and like a little bit elevated. But in any event, so you're in this room alone. They give you like a blanket and a pillow, and it's the whole room had this ambient lighting and would slowly dim, and then as your nap time was ending, the room would slowly brighten into like a warm orangey yellow color. It would never be like fluorescent, and that would be the end of it.
Yeah,
like, and then you take your nap, but like it was designed for like corporate professionals to be able to take that power nap during the day away from work. You don't have your phone on you.
Right.
You're not getting interrupted by, a colleague or whatever. And, it just always stuck out to me. And then I saw that last winter when I was looking for Valentine's gifts for PK.
You're going to hate the next tip.
Is it no Candy Crush?
It's remove naps. They said that naps can be effective for, and I think this is another one that's like individual on the person.
Yeah, Harvard.
So, fuck you, Harvard.
There's 5 days a week I'm not allowed to nap. I'm going to nap on the weekends, assholes.
It says like if you're
fight me.
If you're actively sleep deprived, yes, nap. But they, if you're somebody who maybe has a hard time falling asleep, that a nap may not be the best option because you really need to be sleeping heavily at night when it is like more important.
I definitely napped a lot during the pandemic because I was so fucking bored.
Yeah, this says if you are gonna nap, to do it before 3 p.m. and keep it under an hour, which I'm not a napping person, but I do follow that guideline. Like if it's too late in the day, it'll be like 5 o'clock and my spouse is like, so go take a nap, and I'm like, it's too late to nap.
I mean,
like,
I won't nap later in the day. Yeah,
like I might as well just go to bed.
PK takes a nap
early.
at any time. It'll be like 4 or 5 p.m. and he's like, I'm just gonna take a little nap. I'm like, that sounds psychotic to me, but
it's one of those like the coffee. Like if I have to do something later, like maybe I'll nap later.
Nope, he'll just take a nap.
But I definitely do it for under an hour.
So I don't. That's the part that I don't comply with.
I feel like there's going to be more parts, but yes, let's.
That's the only thing.
That's the only rule I
that and the mountain of Coke.
That's it. Stressful shows and Candy Crush.
I just watched the cutscenes of Saw. Where it's everybody just about, like, they're all making their choice to die
like where the lady jumps into the pit of hypodermic needles. It's just that scene on a loop.
It's the guy who's sewn to the chair.
That's all.
Peeling his back off so that he can hit the brake. Yeah, so he doesn't run over somebody's head.
Yeah.
Super relaxing.
Very calming. That's what my Calm app is for.
God, I'm like, I can feel my heart rate rising just thinking about it.
Yep.
No, but the 2 hour thing, or the 1 hour thing, I feel like when I take a nap, it is about 2 hours. And I wake up very groggy. Like I have fully gone through my whole sleep cycle in that 2 hours.
It might be too long.
Yes, but...
That's not information I'm looking for right now.
But it doesn't really keep me up that much later in the evenings either. I do find that if I take a shorter nap for whatever reason, but I do try to not set an alarm if I don't have to. I'll only set an alarm if I have to actually be somewhere. That I feel a little bit more refreshed, and less of that like, oh, I have to do the whole like I'm gonna wake up now thing, and like I do in the mornings where I like it to be a little quiet. I don't want to be like rushed and to whatever. But yeah, otherwise if I take a nap, that is my activity for the day.
If I do it, I actually usually don't actually go to sleep. I will just lay down like I'm going to sleep because I feel like that ultimately is still restful. Like I'm still laying down. I'm not doing anything.
I've been doing that a lot lately.
Where I'm just like maybe very lightly sleeping at the most. The next one is using bed only for sleep, sex, and sickness. So spending less time in bed is going to lead to more continuous, deeper sleep because your body associates bed with sleeping.
I do that.
As opposed to like watching TV is like one of the big no-nos.
I personally hate sleeping on my couch. Like if I feel like I'm groggy.
Same.
I'll just go lay down if I'm feeling sleepy. I'd rather just lay down, even if, like you said, like I'm not really going to sleep. I'm just going to like scroll my phone or like do that recharge thing. I'd rather just be in my bed than on my couch, like staring at all the shit in my living room.
There's nothing that makes me more angry than like it being 10 o'clock at night and falling asleep on the couch. Being woken up from that, I'm so angry with myself for falling because now I have to like get up,
that is
brush
ridiculous.
my teeth, wash my face.
You're angry with yourself.
I am. I'm like mad. I'm also mad that I'm being woken up, but I'm mad that like I now have to get up and like do all that shit and now go back to sleep, which now I'm realizing is probably because I have trouble falling asleep. That now I've fallen asleep and I have to do this shit again.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. I have noticed, especially lately, that if I feel kind of like I'm getting to that point where I'm like, oh, I'm groggy, but it's too early to like actually go to sleep, I do all of that nighttime routine stuff as soon as I have that thought, so that when I am feeling tired, I can just go straight to bed.
Yeah, so what happens to me, and I had it noted somewhere, but I must have missed it. I have a tendency to, if I don't go to sleep right when I start to really feel tired, when that melatonin, either naturally or because I've taken a gummy, when that starts really kicking in and I start feeling tired, if I don't take advantage of like that window, I get a second wind and then I'm awake till like 2 a.m. And I'll still go to bed and I'll still lay in bed, but I am staring at the ceiling mad that I can't go to sleep. So I have to like really take advantage of that window. Another sleep hygiene tip is keeping fixed bedtime wake-up time. Making sure that you're going to sleep around the same time, waking up around the same time, and your body kind of learns when it's supposed to go to sleep, when it's supposed to wake up.
I do that, and I've done that all through college. Like, even if I was out drinking all night, I'd get up at 7 a.m. at the latest. I could never sleep in. It was the worst. It didn't matter if I went to bed at 5 a.m. I'd be up at 7, ready to go.
So, like, on the weekends, I'll maybe sleep, like, another hour, but that's probably it. Like, I'm still awake, but my thing is I don't get out of bed. Like, I'll lounge in bed until late, but I'm awake.
Oh, I can't.
I'm just, like, reading the news or, trying to stress myself out for the day.
Cool. Start on the right foot.
Yeah. Just lounging in bed. But I do pretty much keep my going to sleep, waking up around the same time. Like, I might stay up, like, a hair later on the weekends, but, like, not really. And since you mentioned it, the next tip is avoiding caffeine and alcohol 4 to 6 hours before bed. Or like any kind of.
So now we've got a day drink.
Now you would just have to drink earlier in the day.
6 hours before bed.
4 to 6 hours.
So if I go to bed at 10, I can't have a drink after 4 p.m.
I mean, 4 to 6 hours. So It says that your body's like trying to metabolize the alcohol, which can like make it disrupts your sleep because your body's like working on metabolizing that. So I know like when I drink very infrequently, like the number of times that I like drink where I'm like intoxicated is like maybe once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. So what happens to me is like I'll go to sleep at whatever time. I am awake at like 4 or 5 in the morning, like up. Oh, I will pass the fuck out for like 4 hours. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like up, wide awake. I have to get up, like shower, have coffee, have something to eat, drink water. Like I have to just start going through a routine to make myself feel better. But alcohol like severely impacts my sleeping. I also get, I think I have that, you know, some people like flush when they drink. Mm-hmm. I have that thing, especially red wine. As soon as I drink it, like I get hot. Like my body gets
red wine
hot,
does that for me too.
Headache, face red.
Oh, I don't get the headache right away. I'll just get the headache.
So quick.
Red wine is like my go-to if I'm like socializing and it's kind of like expected that I have a drink. Mm-hmm. But I can't, like I can suck back Moscato like nobody's business. But red wine, I do have to kind of sip. And if I have more than like 2 glasses of red wine, then I get the headache. Like,
oh my God, it's crazy.
In the moment. I don't usually get too much of a hangover.
Oh.
But, you know, it's a lot harder for me to like drink wine in a quantity enough to be in physical pain the next day.
Oh, a little different for me.
That only happens to me when I have liquor. I really shouldn't be allowed to be having liquor, frankly. Outside of like a infrequent mixed drink situation.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's rough. So alcohol definitely impacts sleep, which I read that and I was like, oh, I think about the number of times that, which I mean, it's not like there's a lot of them, but times where I've drank and then wake up the next morning like staring at the ceiling like, oh my God, I have to get up. Like I will only feel better if I shower, and because I never take my makeup off before I go to sleep if I'm drinking. So I just wake up like goopy and dry and just like, ugh. So hot. Shower. Yeah.
That's how you got engaged.
It is. Yeah. It was, that was a red wine. Another activity they say to do is, well, they're saying it's funny because like this tip is do relaxing things before bed, but the other thing that they mention is brain dumping. So I'm going to do brain dumping first and then relaxing activities.
Okay.
So obviously it's going to be harder to fall asleep when your brain is like churning through different information like mine does. So they tell you, this says set aside a few minutes before bed. I would say throughout the evening, jotting things down or making notes of things that are on your mind so that you're unloading it, putting it onto something else, because there's that great quote, I think I told you that I had read, that I have written down like all over for myself. The brain is for creating ideas, not storing them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel, I mean, that's, I know we talked about it in our Willowbrook episode, but having the planner designed the way that I want it is so helpful because I can scribble something down and it's out of my brain.
Yep.
Because otherwise it's just like repeating on a loop in my head. Like, don't forget to get tissues, make sure you get milk when you get tissues.
Yep.
Okay, when you get milk,
you have to stop there. Oh, you know what? This is next to this. You should also do this. And I'll do that for myself.
Oh my God. And it's just this, it is, if you've ever seen any of those reels where it has the 3 different conversations happening at the same time, that is what it is. So if I can just scribble it out quickly, then it is gone, and I don't have to. And also, if another thought comes in that's related to that, I have a place to put that thought to.
Yes. So, like, critical. I don't brain dump per se. I would say that I have a tendency to, like, after dinner's cleaned up, like, before I'm, like, really going to settle in for the evening and begin my hibernation, I get everything ready for the next day. So anything that I need to bring with me, any errands I need to run, all of that stuff I have laid out for myself. I also have that dry erase board that I put on my fridge, which is like the best. And I'll make notes of stuff that's going on that week or stuff that has to get picked up at the store. So I have that routine, I think, kind of covers this brain dumping where I know, like, my brain can relax because I have everything out that I need out for the next day.
Yeah.
If I'm going to the gym after work, like my gym clothes are already out and in my bag. Like all of that stuff is done so that I'm not sitting there going, don't forget to take this out. Don't forget to take this out. Don't forget to take this out. Because, oof. And then it allows me to like continue to wind down for the evening.
Yeah.
Kind of like a brain dumper. They also call it a worry list. But like I really think it's just taking care of those like annoying things that are not
the things that I mean, frankly, are things that my executive dysfunction prevents me from handling a lot of the time, and that I really, especially in the evenings when my medication is worn off, I have to really think about, okay, move the Chewy box out of your walkway.
Yes. Yeah, like I think I tend to do like an end of day tidy to like prep myself for the next day, and
maybe I'll try that this week.
And I go through like in my head like, okay, in the morning you need to bring your coffee's out. You have to have your water bottle's out. You're going to need this is out. And that's how I go through like my whole, okay, then after work you have to do this is ready. And I kind of like go through what my whole day is going to be so that I know I have all the things out so I don't have to, because in the morning I'm not, I don't know if there are brain waves. I'm kind of just stumbling through my kitchen and moving things around, and like I don't want to have to make food in the morning.
Yeah.
That sounds like a form of torture to me. So I will make sure like my food is mostly prepped. Or like, and it's crazy, but like even if I have to like slice an apple in the morning, the apple, the container it's going in, the knife, and the cinnamon that I'm going to put on are all sitting together on the countertop. So that in the morning I can just like chop it and put it in the thing and put it in my bag. Because my brain doesn't work in the morning. So after your brain dump and your worry list, then do your relaxing activities pre-sleep.
Yeah.
They recommend stretching, calm music, like a warm shower. I know like I, especially during, I would say the last couple years, have become more of an evening shower person. Taking a shower, and then I have like lavender lotion that I'll put on, which is just like very soothing. Turning off push notifications. They recommended podcasts. Oh, that's another one. Do boring activities pre-sleep. They say a podcast in a language that you don't speak, so that you hear talking but you're not. But I guess that's like the sleep stories would be the same thing. Radio show. They also said reading an uninteresting document, like terms and conditions. I would say personally, reading at all, even if I like what I'm reading,
sets me out,
puts me to sleep. And it sucks because I love reading, but between my bad focus and the fact that it makes me narcoleptic and I fall asleep.
For sure. I can read like
hard.
At 2 p.m. on a weekend afternoon.
Sitting up.
Yes. If all of my other things have been done for the day. Yeah. If I've, like, all my laundry is done and all my apartment is fully clean and all the dishes are done and they're put away and I have absolutely nothing to do.
Nothing.
Then yes, I can read.
And then I sit down and I read for 20 minutes and I fall asleep.
I actually, when I read, I go into the Calm app and I put on, like, their Brownian Noisescape or their Focus music. And it's, like, kind of techno-y, and I just keep the volume really low on it. And
we'll put on, like,
helps.
Lo-fi when we're, like, working or something in the background.
Yeah, that does help me focus on reading. I just can't use the ambient noise that I have automatically playing after my sleep stories end, because then it signals to my brain that it's time to sleep.
Or hearing hearing words. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't read when there's like other things that are speaking going on in the background.
Right. Yeah.
I remember as a kid,
got that in my head.
Right. I already have like 6 of those happening in my head at all times. I remember as a kid getting, ruthlessly called out by a teacher because we were working on these questions in our workbook or whatever, and she was speaking while we were doing that. And my brain wrote down what she said instead of what the answer was. And when she called on me for that question, she asked me for my answer and I gave the answer. And she was like, rip me apart how that wasn't even in the question. And I want to be like, bitch, you were talking while we were doing these questions. What do you think is going to happen?
I do that all the time too.
Right. And that's as an adult, I'm like, well, of course you did that.
Right.
Because somebody was talking to you
You had
while you
so
were trying
many
to
teachers
process.
who never should have been
did.
let around children.
I had some mean teachers.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of those thoughts that when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, I'm like, hey, do you remember that time?
Yes.
Do you remember that time your teacher called you out for that? And it wasn't even your fault. Isn't that so fucked? And then I'm just like going through
Right.
indignation, and then I'm thinking about how I need to wash my pillows, and I'm thinking about how I need to schedule an appointment for something. And I mean, it is just like the greatest hits of like shit I don't need to be thinking about right now is what happens when I'm going to sleep. Or I have a great idea, and then I'm like, great, now what do I do? Now I have to wake up and document it somewhere because I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah.
So one recommendation is improving your sleep environment. Noises, lights, things like having the room too warm or not wearing socks so then your feet get cold and then you're not comfortable so you're not sleeping.
I do always sleep in socks. I fucking love it.
I never used to, and I started doing it in the wintertime. And it does really have like an impact. Like I do feel more comfortable, and it keeps like my whole lower half, it seems to keep warmer because my feet aren't getting cold. I think mostly my spouse is glad that I don't come over and touch ice cold feet.
I was like hanging out with a guy right before the pandemic started, and I spent the night at his place, and in the morning we're like getting ready, like we're waking up, and he like looked down at some point and he was like, "Did you wear your socks to bed?" And I was like,
"Excuse you."
Yes. Like,
yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm like, I didn't even pack an overnight bag, fucker. Like,
I love that you had socks on, though. That's funny.
Like the socks that I wore, like,
right.
I mean, like, it was just ridiculous. And so, like, yeah, he had, like, such a conniption over it. And I was like, pal, that is...
Why don't you answer this question? When was the last time you washed your bathroom towels? And then we can have a conversation about socks to bed.
But not only that, like, for me, it's also a thing of, especially if I'm somewhere where I don't have slippers...
I hate not having slippers.
I don't want to touch somebody's floor and step on like a crumb or something and then like have that knowledge that their floor is dirty.
Yep.
It just like creeps me out. So if I wear socks, then I don't have to worry about touching something that I don't want to touch on my feet.
I hate being barefoot so much that if I am barefoot, will find myself standing on the sides of my feet. Which I don't even realize I'm doing it. And it's definitely like a genetic thing because I know other people in my family have done the same thing. Standing there on the sides of my feet because I don't like the sensation of like my barefoot, which is weird because as a kid I was barefoot all the time.
I don't mind being barefoot when I'm outside, but being barefoot inside. So if I wear socks, then I can avoid that. Mm-hmm. So usually in the summer, I can kind of go either way as far as like wearing socks or not wearing socks to bed. But I typically just wear them to bed. I mean, as long, again, like they're not socks that I've gone to the gym in or I've worked out in.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, it's not something that I think about or, like, I just don't concern myself with it. You can call me gross if you want. I mean, by all means, if this is the biggest controversy we have on this podcast, then...
I do have a tendency in the wintertime now to put on, like, fuzzy socks, like thick socks before I go to bed.
Oh, I do love some thick socks.
Yeah, like, when your feet are freezing and you put on, like, thick socks, like, that's the best feeling in the world.
Also, I think I'm going to get... Do you have any of those Bombas gripper socks? Like slipper socks? I've been looking... I keep getting ads for them.
No, because I'm going to
get way more
slippers.
ads now.
I have like wool slippers that I wear. Because those keep my feet from sweating. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing, too, is that I don't like wearing cotton because my feet get sweaty.
Yeah.
And then this whole loop of like...
Well, yeah, and wearing socks with my slippers prevents my slippers from getting sweaty if I'm...
Right, and... I'll wear, then I'm going, my brain is like, you're going into bed with clean socks on because you've had your slippers on the whole time. Like your socks haven't even like touched the floor. But anyway, yes, they talk about like your sleep environment, if you need a sound machine. I know it's funny, again, like as a kid, I liked having very light colored curtains. So when the sun came up, it like naturally woke me up. Mm-hmm. Now I want blackout curtains on my windows and I don't want any light in.
Still likes like as much natural light in any room that she's in as possible.
Which is how I am, except bed. And I have blackout curtains.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In my bedroom. Because also, like, if you do want to go in and lay down and take a nap, not that I don't pull them shut. I have a tendency to try and, like, keep things light so I don't fall into a super, super deep sleep. Mm-hmm. But it is nice to have the option of, if you need to make the room dark, being able to make the room dark.
Yeah,
is handy.
I like that. That is one of the things that I dislike about staying at PK's place, because it's not his fault. He's got like 30-foot windows in his building.
Which are like impossible to get window treatments for.
Right.
Yeah.
So like they have blinds on them, but they're also enormous.
Right.
And like it's just not it's more hassle than it's worth to try to like open and close it, and then his cat's playing with the little string thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I prefer curtains, which is what I have in my place.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's just one of those things where I'm like, and especially when I sleep over in the summer, that early morning, I'm just wide awake because that's where the sun is.
And also, it's 5 a.m., so I'm just wide awake.
Yeah, also that, yeah.
They did, so like one of the things that we, early in the pandemic, it was one of those like you're home more and you're conscious of things around your house more, I think. And we realized our mattress was horrific and uncomfortable, so we got a more comfortable mattress. And also switched our bedding over to linen bedding, and I'm obsessed with it.
Is it a Casper mattress?
No, we went with Brooklyn bedding, and it's like a combo of, I think it's got springs, but then there's also like a cushiony top. It's like the most comfortable mattress. It is so nice, and it wasn't crazy expensive.
Brooklyn Bedding, sponsor us.
Yeah, Brooklyn Bedding sponsor us, because man, do I love that mattress. And we looked at one of the purple ones too, but that was like, it's like a different design that there's nothing really comparable to, and I didn't want to like go through the hassle of getting a mattress delivered and then have to like return it. Like that sounds like a whole entire nightmare to me.
I'm just trying to picture you dragging a mattress into the post office to like send it
like
back.
they make it sound like, oh, you've got this sleep guarantee, and in the back of my mind I'm like, sir, who is coming to my house to unload this shit from my bedroom?
Well, right. Is it just
Also,
that you
like,
get your money back and you keep this mattress?
I don't know, but like getting it in and out of the house, and then it's just like a whole thing that I was not interested in. So we just played it safe. We did not go with the purple. We wound up.
You're also supposed to replace
bedding.
your mattress like every 10 years or something, right?
Yeah, there's like a guideline for it. Same thing with like pillows, and I don't know what that is.
I replace my pillows when they start looking aged, but I did just get impermeable or waterproof.
Oh yeah, like the covers
For my pillows.
Yeah. I got it more for dust because we have an extremely dusty house.
Yeah, I got it for various reasons, but yeah, I just feel like now I don't have to feel shame when I change my pillow cases.
We did replace our pillows too. We got Coop pillows, and they're great. They're like filled with like shredded memory foam stuff, I think.
Okay.
And you can fill them as much or as little as you want. And those have been very comfortable. So I think that made a big difference in like sleep quality, was making sure like we had like really good stuff on the bed. Having white noise, like I benefit for white noise, or like a humidifier, especially in the wintertime. So I'm not waking up like dry and awful feeling, because it makes me feel like I'm getting sick almost in the winter. Keeping the room cool. I do sometimes sleep with a weighted blanket. I love that feeling of like a whole body hug, like at the same time. It's just like so soothing. They also recommend exercising at the right time. So exercising earlier in the day so that you're burning off some of that energy, but then also not too late, because then it's
not full of like endorphins.
Right, you're like charging your body up kind of. So they recommend doing it more than 2 hours before bed.
No problem.
Yeah, got it. Got that.
Yeah, I'm not at the gym at 8 p.m. And I don't date men who are at the gym at 8 p.m. That is
8 p.m. Yeah, no, that's
a red flag, ladies.
That is snuggle time. Like that is when I'm just fully hibernating. There's no activities happening at 8
I just
p.m.
feel like I'm heterosexual, so any man who is at the gym at 8 p.m. on the reg must be just taking the most monster protein shake shits every day. And
I really love that. So we're talking about like intrusive sleep thoughts. Katie's laying in bed and she's like, oh man, I'm so glad I went to bed early. I wonder what other people are doing at 9 o'clock. How about those stupid idiots that are at the gym at 9 o'clock at night? They probably drink so much protein. Protein dumps. When was the last time I pooped? Like that, I feel like that's the...
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did look up ancient Egyptian dynastic periods this week at work.
Actually, you know what was really great was last night, Katie texted me that she was going to watch the Murdoch murder docuseries on HBO, which was 5 stars. Excellent. Then after that, so like I have my phone like sitting on the table. I'm doing something else. And then there's a text like 2 minutes later. Hey, just a heads up. I'm probably going to like text you while I'm watching this as I watch it. Like live tweeting. And then there's another couple minutes goes by. I should live tweet this. Then a couple more minutes goes by. Okay, I'm live tweeting it. And you could see the whole thought process play out.
Well, and then Garrett finally responded and was like, yeah, I think that would be funny. And I was like, well, that's good because I already started because you didn't get back to me in time. I am an unsupervised child given free reign of the toy store.
It was so funny. It was just like you could see it's like watching the thought process was great.
I am Michael Scott sometimes. I really am.
Yes. Yeah. That was improvisation last night.
Do I need to be liked? No. Do I want to be liked? Yes. Does it have to happen every day? Yes. But I don't need it. It's not like compulsive.
It's not like my need for, there was like something else that he listed off. It's not like my need for, I don't remember what it was.
Like approval or something. Yeah, it was like a euphemism for being liked or something.
Oh, sometimes I start a conversation and I just don't know where it's going to end. I know like as far as the exercise goes, I've had phases, I think where my mental health was not great, where unless I like went to the gym and practically passed away, I was working out so hard, I couldn't sleep at night. I was just like feeling like, your body's vibrating like that nervous energy.
Yeah.
Another thing that they recommend is if you can't fall asleep for 20 minutes, get up and do something. So if you're laying there and you're restless and you can't sleep and you're just staring at the ceiling, they were talking, there was a few different ways to go about this. They said like to get up and leave the room and to do something boring. So if
Put your bed in timeout. You're not going to let me sleep? Fuck you, bed.
I'll try again in 20 minutes.
You sit there and think about what you did to me.
You want to yell at me for wearing socks?
Fucking bed.
So put your bed in timeout, or yourself in timeout, depending on how you want to look at it. They said, like, to go do something like reading the terms and conditions. I mean, you can, like, literally count sheep. Another thing said to just get up and stand next to the bed until you feel really tired and get into bed and go to sleep.
This is like training a puppy.
Yeah, like I'm reading it going, like, I don't know how helpful those are. I know, like, personally...
Have a staring contest with your bed.
Stare into the dark corner and wonder what's there.
Make your bed tell you 5 secrets about itself that it hasn't told you yet.
Icebreaker activities. I know, like, I personally find, like, if I'm having trouble falling asleep, if you're familiar at all, like, if you're doing mindfulness and they talk about doing a body scan, so, like, starting at your head, and you're releasing tension, like, making sure your jaw is unclenched, that, like, your tongue is not, like, tight to the roof of your mouth, that your shoulders
like
are
mine
relaxed.
Is right now.
Yeah. You mean mine, like, glued to the top of my mouth? Making sure that, like, your shoulders are relaxed. Like, you're not holding tension anywhere. And sometimes just, like, going through all the way down to your feet, sometimes that alone is enough to, like, okay, like, actively work on clearing your thoughts. Like, sometimes that's enough to help me get to sleep when I'm more intentional about it as opposed to just laying there and hoping for the best.
I think that's why I like listening to kind of more happier podcasts or to the sleep stories because it gives me something to say. Like, usually the sleep stories also start off with, like, you know, let your head sink into your pillow.
They do kind of a similar, like, body scan type thing,
So they do, like, just, and for me, it's just those 2 little things, mm-hmm. Like, the other things where it's like, think of your hair relaxing, now think of your eyes.
Right.
I'm like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's like the thing where it was like, take 20 deep breaths, and like, I've lost count at 4.
20 is too many.
Yeah.
I think that doing a body scan is helpful. And there are sometimes, like, I have to do that with myself during the day even, where I'm like, why are my shoulders at my ears? I'm not tense right now. Like, nothing's happening. You don't...
Are you just confused, so
need to
you're
be.
shrugging?
There's also that a lot of the time. But I think, like, for me, that's a helpful thing, because there are times where I'm laying there and I'm like, I'm laying in bed tense. I'm like, what am I doing? And just releasing that tension, like, is then making me relax.
You have to, remind yourself that this bed is only for sex and sleep and snuggles and
sickness.
Sickness, that's
I should have waited to see how many S's you listed off before. Sardines. I can't think of it. I don't know why sardines is the only S word that's coming to mind. Sickness, sex, sleep, sardines.
Sweets.
Self-soothing.
Sucking on stuff.
Self-soothing sucking. I'm glad that we went the same way with it.
As usual. Oh, Christ.
And then obviously, like, if you're experiencing sleep disturbances that are, like, interfering with your daily life, ask your doctor about it, because maybe you need to have a sleep study done. Maybe you have fucking obstructive sleep apnea.
I mean,
and you need help sleeping, or, you need to be taking melatonin, or, I mean, maybe you need to make some changes to your sleep hygiene, your sleep routine. Yeah. And that would be enough, or waking up. I think after doing this research, I'm definitely going to try one of those sunrise alarm clocks.
Yeah.
And see if that's helpful, because I think it could be. We just don't always get up at the same time, which could make it difficult. But I think it's worth a shot. I mean, and my attitude is like, sleep is so fundamental to everything else I have to do, that if there's something I can do to help improve it, I'll try that.
I wonder, even if you had that sunrise alarm clock, like, in the bathroom or something, like, wherever you go when you first wake up, so that it's not disruptive to your partner, but yeah, like, you'd still have to get out of bed, but then once you're out of bed, you still have that, like, slow wake up thing.
Yeah. Because I have a tendency, like, I usually get up and I keep the lights kind of dim. I don't turn a lot of lights on, and I'll put on, like, NPR in the morning, and that'll kind of, like, get me going and kind of activate my brain in, like, a passive way.
I don't know if anybody's really described NPR as what really gets them going, but...
oh my God, there is no one who is a bigger NPR nerd than me. I am obsessed. I listen to NPR and I honestly, since I was in college, like, I started listening to NPR regularly when I was commuting back and forth to school, and...
All I think of is there's,
obsessed.
like, a scene in one of the, I think, Family Guy, where somebody was, like, leaving their dog home. They, like, made a weird reference, and they do, like, those cut scenes. But the reference was something like, oh, so you're just, like, you're no better than somebody that makes their dogs listen to NPR when they're not home. And it's this guy saying, like, okay, buddy.
Guess what else I do?
Okay, buddy, I'm going to be back in just a little bit. I'll turn on the radio so you don't get lonely. And he turns it on to NPR, and it's like, whisper, whisper, whisper. Whisper, we're here to whisper. And the dog starts clawing at the door.
I literally leave and tell my dog. I tell my dogs that I hope that when I get home, they're informed about today's stories. And I'm constantly cracking.
You need to let me know when they respond.
Yeah, I am always making sure. I'll, like, literally leave and be like, all right, I hope you guys are well versed on what's happening in the world when I get home today. Jesus. And I do. They listen to NPR when I'm not home.
I just tell my cats when I leave, okay, be nice to each other. I don't want a bad report when I get back, as if there's some sort of, like, superintendent of my building.
Like you're having a daycare report.
Yeah.
Like, well, Sophie did attack the sunrise alarm clock this morning.
Yeah.
And knocked it to the floor. Also, it's broken. And you might need a new one.
She did bitch slap her brother 3 times, but he might have started it. Reports are unclear.
We're getting conflicting evidence both ways. Yeah, I am the world's biggest NPR nerd. Although I've switched WANYC instead of WAMC. But yeah, love NPR, and that's what I listen to first thing in the morning. It's also what I listen to, like, when I'm making dinner.
Well, I'm like, beach too sandy, water too wet. Meh, 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 meh.
This tracks. This is just all very, very on brand for both of us. That I'm like, then I just, like, very quietly ease into this and listen to NPR, and it's very soothing.
I've got, like, trumpets and 1-star reviews of water parks in Europe.
Perfect.
or whatever.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. And then I do the Coke and watch Saw and play Candy Crush and hurl myself into a very hot bed with socks on.
Yeah. I do sleep on a heating pad. I have that on my pillow sometimes.
So I don't do that, but I do make my spouse preheat my side of the bed. So I make him get onto my side first and warm it up, and then I get into my side of the bed. Because I hate getting into a cold sheet. It's one of those,
I just wear pajamas, so...
Oh, that would be the difference. I sleep in, like, a t-shirt. Like, I usually will sleep in one of his old t-shirts.
More often than not, my pajamas are a t-shirt, but in the winter especially, I got, like, a set of thermal... Like, it's, like, the waffle knit thermal thing from Target, like, 3 years ago. Best fucking pajamas ever.
Oh, really?
They're so nice. It's, like, just... it's pants and a long sleeve shirt to go with it. That's also the thermal thing. I use it constantly. I wear it year round. Best, like, lightweight, but like sweat friendly, so like I don't overheat in them or whatever. Yeah,
that's my issue with like sleeping with like full clothes on is I also get very hot when I sleep.
I find that
I'm freezing when I go to sleep, and I wake up like I'm.
If I wear pajamas, I don't get as hot when I sleep. I think it's like it's almost
like your body's not working as hard to keep you warm, so that you don't overheat.
Correct. Like I think if I'm not wearing full pajamas, especially in the winter, then I sleep less well because my body is trying to heat me up, and then I wake up because I'm sweaty because my body like overshot the mark.
Confession,
Oh Christ.
My spouse says I sleep like Ebenezer Scrooge because I have a long sleep shirt that I wear. So like I bought like it's sold as a sleep shirt, so it's like a very long button up that goes like down to my knees. That I recently
you also carry around a candle on a little tray?
I don't, but he found a meme that was like the Ebenezer Scrooge sleep pack or something, and it was like a little candle on a holder and a sleep cap. I love my long sleeve sleep shirt. I recently ripped it. I'm trying to.
Actually, one of the things that I'm going to Target for after this is to get more just plain like Hanes long sleeve shirts because I just love them. Like they're so comfortable to me. Like as much as I like wearing just a regular t-shirt, I prefer a long sleeve t-shirt.
I like I'm wearing long sleeve t-shirt right now. It's like a long cotton button up, and I was wearing it, and I tried to like roll over in bed, and my ass put too much tension on the seam, and it ripped. And now the rip keeps getting bigger because it keeps catching on things.
If you have a sewing machine, just sew it up.
I don't have a sewing machine. I could sew it, but it's like the kind of rip where it like frayed, like it tore like on the seam and immediately frayed, and I think ultimately I just need to get myself a new Ebenezer Scrooge shirt, would be the answer. I also feel like a linen shirt would be the best material because then I wouldn't get I have to definitely wear like 100% cotton if I'm sleeping in something, but I think linen would also be good. So if anybody knows,
make you look even more Ebenezer-y.
Oh yeah,
just get like,
or,
lace
Hunger
frills.
Games. Yeah, I could also look like a gray Hunger Games character.
Yeah, very 1984.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for dystopian sleep paralysis demon nightmares, just picture me in my gray drab sleep shirt and Katie with glowing Christmas bulb eyes.
I don't see the problem.
You would look like one of those, the old-timey Christmas trees that people had for the decoration with all the light up things. Like you'd plug them in. It was like a ceramic tree.
Yeah.
You would plug it in. It would be like you, but...
I have one of those ceramic trees. I love it.
There we go.
I made it at the ceramic place.
Oh, the paint, where you like paint the pottery?
Yeah, no, I did that 1 year with my mom. We both made one.
Yeah, cute.
It was honestly like a fun thing.
It is fun
on a night out.
It is
like
fun.
It was. I think it was kind of pricey, but I love it. It's perfect to put on my end table next to my couch.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to have, the irony is, like, I'll have a nightmare about you with the glowing eyes, and then I'll have to tell you about it so that it doesn't come back.
Yeah, it won't come true.
It'll become an intrusive thought, and then I'll be nervous about it, and then I'm going to continue to wake up in the middle of the night and see Katie.
You can just text me about it when you have the thought.
That's what I'll do. I'll text you and
I will
if you don't answer right now, I'm going to live tweet.
I will do my best to not respond with the gif of Jack Skellington putting the Christmas lights in his eyes.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
Well, that is it for us this week. Make sure to tune in next Thursday for another new episode. In the meantime, be kind to yourself, get some sleep, and the bar is ankle high. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be here next Thursday with a brand new episode to delight your brain juices. In the meantime, the best way to support us is to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast streaming platform. You can keep up with us during the week on Instagram and Facebook at The Bar is Ankle High, and on Twitter at Ankle High Pod. If you want even more Ankle High hot takes in your life and have a few dollars to spare, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarIsAnkleHigh. $5 anklets and $10 limbo champions get access to our bonus episodes full of our karaoke attempts, Am I the Asshole discussions, and wondering how we even managed to survive this long. Folks in our limbo champion tier also get access to ad-free episodes every single week. In the meantime, remember to be kind to yourself because the bar is ankle high.